Welcome back to Lions News Fan Report, where we bring you the latest and most exciting sports news every single day. Whether you bleed Honolulu blue and silver, or you're just fascinated by the strategic chess game that is the NFL, you are in the right place, because today's story has way more layers than it might appear on the surface. The Detroit Lions have made a roster move. On its face, that's nothing new. Teams release players all the time, especially in the post-draft frenzy. But this move? This one feels telling. Wide receiver Antoine Green, a seventh-round pick just last year, has officially been released by the Detroit Lions again. And while that might seem like just a routine cleanup move to meet the 90-man roster limit, there's a lot more to unpack here. Why now? Why him? And what could this quiet release tell us about the evolving philosophy inside the Lions front office? Make no mistake, this isn't just about a depth receiver being cut. This is a window into the mindset of a franchise that is no longer satisfied with mediocrity. A team that made the NFC Championship last season. A team that's starting to taste what true contention looks like. A team that's making every move with one thing in mind, winning. And if that means moving on from a once promising draft pick after just one season, so be it. So let's start at the beginning. Antoine Green came out of North Carolina in the 2023 NFL Draft, and when Detroit picked him in the 7th round, it wasn't exactly headline material. But the Lions saw something. At 6 feet 2 inches, 200 pounds with solid speed and some big play potential, Green looked like a project worth taking on. The kind of receiver who might take time to develop, but could eventually carve out a meaningful role. And initially, that belief seemed justified. Green made some noise in his first preseason. He caught 7 passes for 151 yards and a touchdown, a performance that earned him a spot on the 53-man roster. That's not nothing, especially for a 7th-rounder. In a league where late picks are often long shots, Green had defied the odds. But then came the regular season. And the production all but vanished. 9 games, 1 catch, 2 yards. And just like that, the momentum stalled. Green became a ghost in the offensive game plan. Part of that was the depth chart. Part of it was fit. And part of it was probably just the reality of being a rookie on a team that was trying to win now. Still, going into the 2024 preseason, there was hope that Green might make a leap. But instead, in the very first preseason game, he suffered a concussion. A tough break. And in a flash, his opportunity evaporated. The Lions reached an injury settlement and let him go. And yet, here's where things get even more intriguing. Detroit brought him back this offseason. That's not something you do unless you see some kind of potential still in the tank. Maybe they thought he'd matured. Maybe they believed he just needed another shot. But now, just days after adding 2 wide receivers in the 2025 NFL Draft and signing 11 undrafted free agents, the Lions have once again said goodbye. And this time, it feels more definitive. But why? Let's look at the full context. Heading into the draft, Detroit had 17 open roster spots. They filled 7 with their draft picks, and then moved quickly to scoop up 11 more players from the undrafted free agent market. That brought the roster to 91, one man over the league's 90-player limit for the offseason. So a cut was coming. That much was obvious. But why was it Antoine Green who got the axe? Was it just a numbers game? Or does this point to something deeper? Maybe a quiet admission that Green just didn't fit the new identity this team is building. Let's zoom out and look at that identity. This isn't the same Detroit Lions organization that was constantly rebuilding, retooling, and hoping for better luck next year. No, this is a franchise that has redefined its culture under the leadership of Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes. A franchise that has drafted extremely well in recent years. Just look at their 2023 class. That class brought in Jahmyr Gibbs, who exploded onto the scene with over 1,000 yards from scrimmage. Jack Campbell, the linebacker, with sideline-to-sideline range. Sam Laporta, who may already be a top 5 tight end in the league. And Brian Branch, a do-it-all defensive back who made an instant impact. That's a group that has not only produced but transformed the very identity of this team. So when you look at Antoine Green, the 7th member of that draft class, you have to ask, did he live up to the standards set by his classmates? Unfortunately, not really. And in a brutally competitive NFL environment, especially on a rising team like Detroit, that matters. Now let's look at what the Lions did do in this year's draft that likely sealed Green's fate. In the third round, they grabbed Isaac Tesla, big-bodied, high-ceiling receiver from Arkansas. He's drawn early comparisons to guys like Jordy Nelson or even Adam Thielen for his route precision and catch radius. The Lions clearly believe he can compete for real reps immediately. Then, in the seventh round, they scooped up Dominic Lovett from Georgia, a shifty, elusive slot receiver who could become a weapon on underneath routes and screens. Think Khalif Raymond, but with potentially more upside. And as if that wasn't enough, Detroit brought in two intriguing undrafted guys, Jackson Meeks from Syracuse and Jacoby Keeney-James from UMass. Both raw, both hungry, and both offering something unique, Meeks with his toughness and special teams ability, and Keeney-James with straight-line speed that reportedly clocked in the 4.3s. So ask yourself, in a crowded room headlined by Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams, where exactly was Antoine Green supposed to fit? St. Brown is your alpha, a technician, a culture setter, a leader. Williams is finally turning into the deep threat the Lions envisioned. His first 1,000-yard season in 2024 was a breakthrough moment. And Tim Patrick, the veteran, brings experience and reliability. He knows how to get open. He's smart. He's steady. Then you've got Tesla, Lovett, Bell, Meeks, Keeney-James, and maybe even more names we haven't seen fully unleashed yet. Green, by contrast, was a guy who had already been waived once, had injury concerns, and failed to stand out in limited opportunities. It's not hard to see how he became the odd man out. But let's also entertain another angle, because this is Lions News Fan Report, and we love digging deeper. Could this move suggest that the Lions are preparing for even more shakeups in the WR room? Think about it. What if a veteran gets traded during camp? What if someone goes down with an injury? What if a guy like Ronnie Bell doesn't take the step forward the coaches hope for? Could the door still be cracked for a return down the line? Or maybe, just maybe, Antoine Green becomes one of those classic NFL redemption stories. Maybe he signs with a team like the Titans or the Patriots, teams that need WR depth and have a reputation for giving second or third chances. Sometimes a player just needs the right scheme, the right quarterback, the right moment. Could Green still become something in the NFL? The odds are steep. But hey, it's happened before. So let's turn it over to you. What do you think about the Lions letting go of Antoine Green? Was this just the cold reality of roster math? Or did Detroit give up on a guy too soon? Personally, I get why they made the move. The wide receiver room is stacked. And at this level, just okay isn't going to cut it. But I'll be honest, part of me was rooting for Green. There was something about that first preseason showing the flashes, the hope. I wanted to see more. But in the NFL, time is a luxury. And for fringe players, sometimes all it takes is one mistimed injury, one slow day at practice, and it's over. Still, I'll be watching to see where he lands. And if he makes it back to the field, you better believe we'll cover it right here. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to Lions News Fan Report, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an update on the team you love. We've got draft breakdowns, off-season analysis, training camp previews, and more coming your way. This is going to be a massive year for Detroit, and we're going to follow every twist and turn, every roster battle, and every breakout story. Drop your thoughts below. I can't wait to read what you have to say about all of this. Until next time, this is Lions News Fan Report, signing off. Stay hungry, one pride.